Glad to have you join us. This is OGTV News. I am Mojisola Sholaja. Our top stories. Ogun State government intensifies efforts on security, launches outfits. Vice President OSINBAJO seeks waiver for local vaccine production. INEC steps up preparations for Ekiti-Osun elections. Interacts with media. Explosion kills 17 people in Ghana. Mistakes are a fact of life. It is the response to the error that counts.
And coming up on the business segment of the news today, House of Representatives proposed 10-year jail term for PONZI scheme operators. Details of this and more when I return. My name is Okpeyemi Adeohumi. Stay with us.
And on sports news, defending champion Naomi Osaka out of Australian Open. These are these and other sports stories when I come back. My name is Biodun Alabi.
Once again, you're welcome to OGTV News. Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun has launched Operation Mesa, a joint internal security outfit to complement efforts and strengthen security apparatus in the state. Abiodun said the initiative is a further confirmation of security of lives and property in different markets. Addressing the participants during a business clinic held at the local government secretariat hall, Ota, Commissioner for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Kike Lomolonge, said the clinics were organized in 5 zones across the state to sensitize and expose entrepreneurs to the immense opportunities available for starting and scaling up of their businesses. The commissioner, who was represented by the permanent secretary in the ministry, Mr. Oluola Aikulola, said the state government intends to help start and upscale 10,000 enterprises through the clinic, adding that the goal of the present administration is to help the micro, small and medium enterprises thrive and have a fair play in the market.
With the largest number of industries. Therefore, there is no insurmountable reason that MSMEs should not thrive in this environment. The best case scenario would be for various MSMEs to feed into our industries here as suppliers of raw materials and services to the big industries.
Lunga assured that the state will continue to provide support for micro, small and medium enterprises within Ota Agbara axis and further consolidate its status as Nigeria's industrial hub. In his welcome address, Special Advisor to the Governor on Industry, Trade and Investment and coordinator of the business clinic, Mr. Remi Ogumefun, said the state government, in line with the vision of Governor Dapo Abiodun, organized the program to ensure that the micro, small and medium enterprises are run in a sustainable way so as to grow and metamorphose into bigger businesses. In a goodwill message, the president of the Agbara Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Mrs. Cynthia Saka, appealed to participants to ensure they register their businesses with the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, and business membership organizations to ensure they do not miss out on various beneficial programs and interventions meant for micro, small and medium enterprises. Speaking on behalf of other participants, Mrs. Janet Awoduni and Mr. Peace Osunle lauded the state government for organizing the program, adding that the clinic has provided the necessary guidance for them to start their business and access capital for the growth of their businesses. Coming up, Vice President Professor Yemi OSINBAJO at the ongoing World Economic Forum in Davos seeks waiver for local vaccine production. More news and reports after this break. You're still watching OGTV News. The Vice President, Professor Yemi OSINBAJO, has called for a waiver on the intellectual property rights to allow African countries produce COVID-19 vaccines to contain the spread of the virus and improve protection for Nigerians and Africans. This is as he said that the funding of oil and gas projects by multilateral finance institutions will have medium and long-term consequences on African economies and will ultimately impede the process of phasing out more polluting fuels such as coal, diesel, amongst others. OSINBAJO made the call on Friday while delivering a special address virtually at the ongoing World Economic Forum in Davos. The Vice President lamented that less than 10% of African countries had vaccinated 40% of their population. He also warned that there will be a relatively slow rollout of vaccinations in Africa due to resource constraints. Yet, vaccinations remain essential because of the mutation of the virus and the emergence of variants that may be more dangerous than Omicron. 3 Nigerians were on Friday announced by the federal government as winners of the Nigerian National Order of Merit Award for years 2020 and 2021. While Dr. Oluyinka Olutoye was named winner in medicine 2020, Professor Charles Chidume clinched the award in science 2020, just as Professor Godwin Ekagwere emerged winner in science 2021. Olutoye, a renowned surgeon and scientist, was selected for the award for having performed in-utero surgery on fetus with leg tumors while still in the mother's womb, making him the first African and indeed the first Nigerian to perform this feat. Chidume, a professor of mathematics at African University of Science and Technology, Abuja, was selected for the award for introducing a new and powerful interactive algorithm, which is the only one in the literature that does not involve the resolvent for approximating a zero of the maximal monotone map. Ekagwere, a mathematician, was selected for creating new directions in mathematics and deploying the outcomes to solve outstanding problems in a branch of mathematical physics called axiomatic quantum field theory. While announcing the winners at a press conference in Abuja, the chairman, governing board of the Nigerian National Merit Award, Shekirao Yakubu, said the 3 winners were found worthy of the award for distinguishing themselves in the various areas of their chosen careers. According to him, they were selected out of 46 nominations by specialized committees, including external assessors, and considered by a committee of chairmen and the governing board of NNMA before the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari. The House of Representatives has considered and harmonized with its Senate counterpart a bill for an act for the establishment of the National Institute for Border Studies in Imeko, Ogun State. Leader of the House, Al-Hassan Ado-Daguwa, moved that the report be considered and harmonized as work had been completed on it at the Senate. The institute, when established, will provide for the teaching, research, instruction, and training of students in border management and for related matters.
This is an establishment bill that I believe is in the best interest of our people and is brought up here by one of our good members, responding actually to the yearnings and aspirations of our people, and by extension is going to be a national institution that will be to the benefit of virtually all and sundry. And therefore, I think does not require any long debate or any further explanation. I only plead with honorable members to please understand with us and let this bill pass with the speed of the light. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oladipupo Ogunbono reports that the bill was introduced into the legislature by a member representing Egbado North Federal Constituency, where the institute will be located, Honorable Jimo Olaifa. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu has commended the media for being factual in reportage, especially during the Anambra State 2021 governorship election, and appealed for such standard in the Ekiti and Osun 2022 governorship elections. The chairman made the commendation during a consultative meeting in Abuja with the media head of Ekiti, Osun, and the 2023 general elections.
We also look forward to strengthening this partnership, especially as we continue to conduct more off-cycle and by-elections this year and implement critical activities towards the 2023 general elections, which is just 393 days away.
The National Treasurer of NUJ, Dele Atumbi, who stood in for the NUJ president, promised the union's continued support in reforming the nation's electoral process.
Ensure the sustenance of our democratic values at every point in time. We should equally do everything possible to support INEC as Nigerians, and we should stop these destructive tendencies, especially by destroying INEC facilities. Nigerians should stop that. We should protect our national asset. It is part of national asset that should be protected. And if peradventure we continue to destroy national assets, it is not in the best interest of all of us.
Individuals need to give thanks and praises to God and as well rest solely on His promises for a better tomorrow. This was a submission of the Managing Director, Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation, Architect Abiodun Fari Arole, at the annual Thanksgiving service for the year 2022 at Metros Hotel, Ibara, Abeokuta. Ronke Adeyemi reports that the event also had in attendance former President of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Her report.
Being thankful in all situations helps to develop trust and humility in God, the creator of mankind, while much of the gratitude is related to positive experiences. People have to learn to appreciate the Almighty in season and out of season. With heart full of praises, Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation had the 2022 Thanksgiving service at the Metros Residences Hotel, Ibara, Abeokuta. The service had in attendance the former President, Olusegun Obasanjo, directors and civil servants in the agency, Managing Director, Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation, Architect Abiodun Fari Arole, enjoined everyone to embrace the new year with acts of goodness, after which he highlighted the achievements of OPIC in the past years.
Here in OPIC, we appreciate God because He's our Alpha and He's also our Omega, our beginning and the end.
For the word of exhortation, preachers charged everyone to walk with open arms and embrace the act of thanksgiving.
When you need help, when you need somebody to come near you, you need assistance, and you see God standing up for you.
Working with La ilaha illallah, applying La ilaha illallah, is not what you are doing. That blessing will come unto you.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo described how OPIC has been transformed over the years.
OPIC has changed from how it used to be, and that alone is a reason to give thanks to God.
Dignitaries present also enjoined staffs in the agency to forge ahead with diligence and hard work.
They have run a good race in 2021, and I believe with the crop of people ably led by Architect Abiodun Fari Arole, I know they are just starting.
They should seek God in everything they do, number one. And everybody, big, young, old, we should make this year a year of obedience and reference to Almighty God.
The government agency also affirmed that projections are in place for the new year. Adirunke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
The Redeemed Evangelical Mission, TREM, Sound of Joy Arena, Ileweron, Abeokuta, will on Sunday, 23rd of January 2022, hold its annual apostolic visitation with the theme, Divine Acceleration. Ministering at the Wonder event is the Vice President, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, in the Southwest, Bishop Reuben Olioke of the Redeemed Evangelical Mission, Onikolobo, Abeokuta. Venue of the apostolic visitation is TREM Church Auditorium, Shoyemi's compound, Ileweron, Abeokuta, beginning from 4 in the afternoon. A statement issued by the host pastor, Genius Ezenwa, says that the program will usher in prophetic blessings for the new year. Glimpses this week will focus on 5 Nigerian classic albums in the 70s.
For many, Haruna Ishola is the best performer of Akpala, a percussion-based style that started in the 1930s as a wake-up call to Islamic faithfuls in the month of Ramadan. Over time, the sound became less religious and popular. Haruna Ishola was known for performing extremely lengthy shows that ranged from 4 to 10 hours long, singing praises and sold-out concerts to large audiences in Osogbo. In 1971, 2 years after he started Star Records with Ike Dairo, the album sold over 5 million copies and became his largest selling record till date.
I will have a groovy time together. Are you ready now? Everybody say yeah, yeah.
Zombie is Fela's most politically striking record. It was first recorded in 1976 by Coconut Records in Nigeria and later in the United Kingdom by Creole Records the same year. The album is a satirical engagement with the Nigerian military government, and it led to dire consequences for Fela, his band, family, and Kalakuta Republic. After releasing the song, 1,000 soldiers attacked his home, destroyed and burned his properties, and then threw his mother from the second floor of the building.
Attention, quick march, slow march, left on, right on, button, double.
Fire in Soweto is Okosun's international hit and a gold album that was released in 1978 by EMI. Before then, Okosun had released a number of reggae-influenced hits that distinguished his brand, his sound. Ozidi is a fusion of Afrobeat, funk, and reggae. Taiwo and Kehinde Lijadu are identical Nigerian twin sisters that stirred the Nigerian pop scene from the mid-1960s to the 1980s. Their mastery of pop sounds like Afrobeat, disco, and jazz make their music fun and original. The sisters produced a number of raw and electrifying albums that placed them as the African version of Pointer Sisters, Horizon Unlimited, their most memorable and last album, released in 1979 by Aphrodisia, an imprint of Decca Records, led the pop charts of the late 70s. The album has 6 tracks that all begin with talking.
Glimpses put together by Bumi Adigun of our News and Current Affairs Division. That leads us to the business segment of the news.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. The House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill seeking to regulate Ponzi and pyramid schemes as well as other forms of investment, proposing a 10-year jail term for operators. The bill also proposes more regulatory powers for the Securities and Exchange Commission of the market to ensure capital formation, the protection of investors, maintain fair, efficient and transparent market and reduction of systematic risk, and for related matters. Chairman of the House Committee on Capital Markets, Babangida Ibrahim, who sponsored the bill, noted that the bill prohibits Ponzi pyramid schemes as well as other illegal investment schemes and prescribes a jail term of not less than 10 years for their promoters. According to him, the SEC would also be empowered to shut down such prohibited investment schemes. The federal government has called on the Nigerian private sector to maximize the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Niyi Adebayo, made this call at the lightning of the African Trade Torch organized by the African Business Council in Cairo. He said the participation of the private sector will be vital in birthing the goals of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. He expressed the belief that there can be no AfTA without the full participation of the private sector as a key driver of economies within the continent and beyond. He opined that the effect of the AfTA on economic and social transformation depends on the degree to which the private sector can seize the opportunities the agreement provides. Vice President Yemi OSINBAJO says despite uncoordinated claim, global efforts to stimulate economic monetary policy action, as well as the African continent, grew by 3.7% in 2021 and is projected to grow by 3.8% in 2022. As a special address with the World Economic Forum, Davos, OSINBAJO said, given its bold step to integrate through the African Union Agenda 2063, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, as well as the democratic dividends of its large population, the continent holds the promise of a prosperous future with the pandemic. The continent, he said, faces serious threats of terrorism and climate impact, which requires the intervention of the international community to guarantee global peace and security. The Vice President made an emphatic case for a just energy transition that recognizes natural gas, which is abundant in Africa, as a transition fuel, adding that moves by international financial institutions to defund gas projects would have short and long-term negative impact on African economy. The International Monetary Fund has said it is set to launch a $50 billion trust fund for low-income and vulnerable middle-income countries to help them build resilience to balance of payment shock and set them to the path to sustainable recovery before the end of 2022. The IMF disclosed this in a blog post titled, "A New Trust to Help Countries Build Resilience and Sustainability." It said a proposed $50 billion trust fund would help low-income and vulnerable middle-income countries build resilience to balance of payment shock and ensure a sustainable recovery. According to the Washington-based lender, the pandemic and climate change are challenges threatening macroeconomic stability and growth and have a potential for future balance of payments problem. It said this global public policy challenges are the shared responsibility of individual countries and the international community. The Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company and the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation has disagreed over 162 billion naira financial infractions contained in the 2019 Auditor General's report regarding the activities of the company. while the Auditor General for the Federation said the management of the federal government owned companies should account for the said amount. The management said there was no loss of public funds in its operation, while stressing that government circulars does not apply to it as a registered company. The management also said it was not under any government ministry, even though it is listed as one of the government-owned enterprises. The report said 91.1 billion naira, which appeared in the consolidated financial statements of the minting company for the year ended 31st December 2018, could not be verified and reconciled with the assets registered due to non-existence of proper non-current assets inventories ledger. It also said that inventories of raw materials amounting to over 4 million naira and consumables amounting to 2 billion naira could also not be verified due to non-existence of proper inventory receipts and issues ledger. Finally, the Port Harcourt Refinery Company, currently under rehabilitation, will supply 11 million litres of petrol to the domestic market. In a report put together by the firm, the company is expected to produce about 3.96 billion litres of petrol annually. It also stated that the facility would produce enough aviation kerosene, also known as aviation fuel or Jet A1, a development that would make Nigeria a hub for the commodity in West Africa. These were contained in the firm's report on engineering, procurement, construction, and installation. The Port Harcourt Refinery Company and two other refineries, Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company and Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemical Company, are under the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. And that brings us to the end of the business segment. It is back to Mujisola for the rest of the news.
To the foreign segments of the news, a vehicle carrying explosives used in mining collided with a motorcycle and blew up in a town in western Ghana, leaving at least 17 people dead and injuring dozens. Meanwhile, Twitter has suspended several accounts belonging to Ethiopians due to the conflict in Ethiopia. Precious Chuku has details.
We apologize for that mix-up. It's sports news. My name is Biodun Alabi. Defending champion Naomi Osaka is out of the Australian Open after American opponent Amanda Anisimova survived 2 match points before clinching a memorable third-round victory. Japan's Osaka was beaten 4-6, 6-3, 7-6 at Melbourne Park. Unseeded Anisimova will play Australian top seed Ashley Barty in the last 16. Barty has still not dropped a set this week after a 6-2, 6-3 victory over Italy's Camilla Giorgi. In the men's game, 2009 champion and 5-time finalist Rafael Nadal continued his pursuit of a record-breaking 21st major title by beating Karen Khachanov in 4 sets to reach the 4th round. He will face Francis Andrea Manarino in the last 16. And from Cameroon, as the African Nations Cup reaches round of 16, some Nigerian journalists in Garoua have predicted a tough but surmountable encounter for the Super Eagles of Nigeria against Tunisia on Sunday. This was the crux of their reactions ahead of the last 16 clash in interviews with our reporter, Moses Ojaomi.
The 33rd edition of the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon has now reached the knockout phase. It's the round of 16, a tougher test for all the qualified teams. As for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, it's a big clash against familiar foes, Tunisia, on Sunday. The North African side set up a last 16 clash with Nigeria after securing the 3rd place in Group F, following a loss to Gambia 1-0.
Under this current coach, Augustus Erezo Guavon, we met in the quarterfinal, former Inter Milan and West Ham and winger Ruben and Sofo put us in front in the 5th minute of the game, and before Karim Agui, the former central defender of Esperance, equalized in the 55th minute, and at the end of the day, the game was decided via penalties, and it took the heroics of Vincent Nyama.
Away from nostalgia, others believe it's a 50-50 game.
They've only won one game and lost 2 games, so they will want to pick up the pace. If not, this is the end of the road for them. So I'm expecting a very tough encounter, but the Super Eagles have been showing some beautiful football.
A lot of people on Nigerian spaces are saying it's Tunisia will popo them, beat them all the way to the ground, but left to me out. I really believe that the players and the technical crew are focused on this. I'm not getting carried away by 9 points out of the possible 9. But yes, it's a 50-50 game and can go in any direction.
I think the confidence between both teams, there's a real growth in class there, and I think it's a show on the pitch on Sunday.
The two African football giants have met 20 times, with both countries recording 6 wins apiece and 8 stalemate games. The Eagles last lost to the Tunisians in 2004 in an AFCON semi-final match, which ended 1-1 during regulation time, with the North African nation winning 5-3 on penalties. Moses Ojewumi reporting from Cameroon for Ogun State Television.
The train of the 2021 edition of Prince Dakwabedun Mind Games continued at the Ijebu East local government area of Ogun State. The event, which has been moving across different local government areas in the state, was held at the Ogbere Town Hall and featured games like draft, ayolokmo, and chess. In attendance were the chairman, Ijebu East local government, Honorable Wale Adedayo, the director of sports in the state, Mrs. Iyabo Derotimi, and the board chairman of Ogun State Television, Comrade Tunde Oladujoye. The dignitaries commended the initiative, saying it's an avenue to engage the youths positively.
Sports at any level has primary goal of engaging the youth, occupying the youth, and discovering potentials. And this kind of setting is commendable, is recommendable.
When there is no opportunity for recreation, when there is no opportunity for relaxation, you know, the mind tends to think of a lot of negative things. So with this, both the young and old, they have an opportunity at relaxation, putting their minds at rest.
Prizes were also given winners of games in both the male and female categories. And that's all we have for you on our sports news tonight. We thank you so much for watching us. This continues shortly with